tonight. And tonight will be a little bit more personal because, the crowd is just a little smaller. It's the second time we're doing this.
Hi. Can you hear us?
Are
Yes.
we on?
Okay.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. So now, John, tell me
We have Jackie. We have Lauren Smith.
Lauren, where are you? Lauren, you on the phone?
I don't know. I can't hear. Carolyn just came on. Linda. Letty. Dara.
Letty.
Abby.
Hi. Hi, Rosemarie.
Hi. Letty is the dancer.
Yes, thank you. Like Joan.
Yeah. Someone asked me, like, what would I think that Joan was doing today? Like, what would she have done? And I'm here twice. Look, I'm here twice.
Yeah.
And, since I've been dealing with more, like, of things, more concentrated, and sometimes that's a good thing, sometimes it's hard, but in the process, very nice thoughts came out. And I think what I could see her doing was, guess what? Yesterday I heard Chopin when I'm doing some work. And I asked Google, what's the name of the song? And it was a Chopin, the music. And it's very beautiful. In fact, Jackie, I thought of you with the piano. And then I said, oh my God. I said, that I could see Joan playing Chopin. Because and I never thought of that before, but when Joan was about 3 years old, she would take her little phonograph, and it was right where we have the chest of drawers now that is kind of leads you into the living room. And that chest of drawers happened to be hers, and now we use it like for papers, and we use it for a lot of things that we need with the foundation. And she would stay there with a little chair. She'd take a little chair, and she'd get the phonograph. She'd have it all set, told to nobody, and she'd just be listening to the music for about an hour. And it was just natural. Then I found out that she could play by ear because her sister was playing the piano, and then Joan was going to take lessons when she was 8. But I could see her playing the piano, and with her back really straight, her hair really pretty long, and just doing it with such feeling. But I don't know if she would have liked the discipline of, all the practice that you have to do, like 10 hours a day. I don't know about that. But the other thing is, I could have seen her dancing. So I thought of something on Broadway with her, but not as a full-time job. The other part of the job would be something where she was gathering people to do some cause, maybe in Washington, D.C. Yeah. So now what we do with the story and with the book and then the podcast and the documentary and all that's going to be coming on, she's going to be doing her music. In fact, if I had some Chopin, it was so beautiful. Probably you would know the name and everything. Oh, so, like for background, John, for music, But I'm just telling you something about her. And right now, like the podcast just came on, okay? And someone from England said, we have all of her. We almost have all of her. And that's what we have to think of. And in that process, she will be showing her stuff, and maybe you could feel her playing, but she played by ear, like Jackie plays by ear. And I see how Jackie plays, and she never got instructions or anything. And it's just like there. It's just there. And now she teaches her great grandchildren. So all of you, just let me say hello to you before we start. John, could you tell me who everybody is?
We have Jackie, Lauren Smith,
Okay,
Carolyn,
show me. Yeah.
Maddie.
Yeah,
Maddie is here. Hi, Maddie.
Hi, Maddie. Hi. Yeah. And then there's Michael. Hi, Michael.
Faye.
Hi, Faye. Faye was, she helped us edit the book. Okay, and she was in the publishing field.
And we have Chris Nagel.
Chris. Hi.
Board.
Chris is on the board.
Hello.
Hi. And
we
his daughter is very interested in social justice. And
Margot, and the rest aren't.
Hi, Margot. Hi, Margot.
Hi there.
Hi, Linda. We said hi to. Letty. We had
Hi,
said
Linda.
hi
Letty.
Dara, who saw the Pascagoula Press article and came
Hi,
on.
Dara. I'm glad that you saw that in the paper. Yeah.
Then we have our friend Emmy.
Oh, Emmy.
Her mom.
Hi.
Hi.
Two people on the phone. Maybe.
Who?
I don't know. They're muted.
But who's the name? What's the
It
name?
doesn't say a name.
Okay, hi. And then who was that again? Linda?
We had said hi to Lauren Smith.
And that was
I don't know.
Linda?
Lauren Smith.
Lauren
We had said hi to Lauren Smith.
Lauren. Oh my God. Carolyn, right?
Yeah, Carolyn
And
was
then,
there. Carolyn. We said hi to
this,
Carolyn.
This one? Oh, that's Carolyn.
Carolyn.
Hi, Carolyn. Hi. Okay. So now there will be people on Facebook. Last time there were about 15. Okay. And then we had. So now this is the second time. So the second time, and there's a lot of us. There's like 16 of us right now. And I know some people will be on Facebook, and people just come. And what I want to tell you right now, the new news is podcast, the first one, just came on. And it came on yesterday. And how many thousand, Sean? About 16,000?
1,600 at least, probably 2,000.
About 2,000 people have seen it in just less than a day. And this one is called Suffer the Little Children. And my first experience with the podcast, I just remember she did the narrative, gave us 28 pages. We had to check them all just to see about any changes, any kind of editing. And then on Saturday, I will be interviewed for it. And next week will be the conversation. But I'm going to tell you, she got the psychologicals through public records. How did she get them through the public records?
Yeah, and law websites.
Law websites. Okay, law. What?
Find law.
Find law websites. She got those from there. There were things that were being said that you saw. It's so intriguing. It's like it could be upsetting, but yet it's something we have to know, because it shows you what people like him can do to fool the psychologist even a couple of days after the murder. So what he does, he has an interview with the parole board, and it's about 8 hours, and this is 1980, so this is 7 years after 73. And then what happens is he says, she didn't really do that. And as soon as I saw her, I knew what I was going to do. And he talks like that. And then he goes into what he did. So you have that you have that, and then you have Zuckerby saying what he did to Joan. Now, after you read it, I mean, after you hear this, we love Joan very much. You're gonna love her 100 times more. That's the way I felt. Okay, and she fought, but I think that you know how you can get shock and you hear about people like getting into shock, you know, sometimes like that, right? They get into shock. I think without, you know, saying, oh, like, you know, hoping it happens, I can see that that could happen because it took about a half hour for her to die. You know, he choked her twice. But then, you know, your body gets into such shock, you know. Just think of something like yourself where it was something that, like, you were, something happened and you just felt shock. And you don't really feel like really regular feeling. You're just there almost like a zombie. So I think that it could have been that, but of course we don't know. So now, you know, we'll talk about the book. Um, we are going to have okay, honey. We are going to have we're going to have like a signing at a bookstore here in Hillsdale, and that will be on the 3rd of April. And that just happened. That happens to be the anniversary of the first Jones Law. And remember, when I got that first law, I did not know. I didn't know if there were going to be more Jones Laws. It was that first Jones Law. Let's have a Jones Law. Let's work on this. So we worked on it. And we worked on it, you know, with many people, you know, for 3 years. And that became our like, you know, our foundation. So, you know, all of you at the end, you know, you have questions, just ask your questions. If you have something that you want to talk to me special, you could talk to me on the phone, or, you know, just, you have my email, and I'll give you my phone number, if you don't have it, or just email me, you know. But, you know, it has to be, I mean, you're kind of brave to come on, but, you know, you're interested in social justice. That's what I see. You're interested in not just staying like, you know, in your comfortable point, you know, space.
Yes.
So this is the way we're going to make things be better, because we're going to be more powerful. Yeah, yeah. And that's what shows in the book. The book starts with the most horrendous that could ever happen, but because her, the way she was, the spirit of was exuding power, but power that was not like pugnacious, that was not with irritation, like a gentle power, you know, the best kind of power you could have. So now John is going to be the host for tonight.
Yes. So it's 7:15 now. We'll get to your questions. Well, actually, I'll intersperse them, but most of your questions will come around 7:40.
Even later, if you have
7:45 if we have to go long. Okay, so thank you for joining us tonight for the second Zoom discussion of my mother Rosemarie's book, The Message of Light Amid Letters of Darkness. That, as my mother said, goes into the deepest darkness, but also the bright light of hope. Like last time, we will be discussing the book, and then then I'll read questions that you post in the chat, and maybe we'll chat openly too. So post your questions in the chat, or discuss the book, any thoughts, or anything you'd like to share. Remember, you could get the book or see reviews on the website, or there's links to the ebook, which is $9 on Amazon, and then you could you get an app on your iPad, and that's an easy way to view it. There'll be an audiobook at some point. They're still working on that. So to kick things off, we have a lot of new people from last, some repeats. but we'd like to go again into how did you get into writing this book? How what has the journey been like so far from the beginning? I guess when did it start? January.
You want to come over closer?
Oh, I'm off the screen.
Okay. Well, I never planned to write a book at this time.
I'm just going to show some of the picture here of the process. But,
That's good.
okay.
And what really got me to write the book were the letters, having those letters. Now, we got those letters in 2008, and there were 332 letters.
Yes.
332 letters. And in 2008, we were trying to keep the killer in prison. So I gave the letters to the parole board, and the parole board had the real letters. We made copies before we gave it to them, and the copies were in my attic. I couldn't say anything that we had these, because if, and he would have found out, if the killer and their family found out, they would have tried everything to say that their rights were being abused, and they would have tried everything to get out of prison. So in 2021, June 5th, he died. We found out about that June 8th, 9th. That was a Saturday. And I found out on the Monday, which was, let's see, what was that, the 10th, 9th?
I don't know. June.
5th? 6th, 7th, the 7th.
Yeah.
Was on the 7th. Found out on the 7th, the prosecutor's office calls me and tells me. So at that time, I wasn't thinking I'm going to write a book, right? But then I had all these letters, and I first said, I spoke to an author and said, maybe we could put these letters together, and then, it would be a book for the FBI investigators and people in law, people like policemen. So started doing that, but then they were saying, well, there's too many letters, and just to put letters, I thought, just letters. So woke up one morning and I had this thought. You know how you get up in the morning and sometimes that's when you're the brightest with thoughts, and that's when your creation comes out? Well, that was happening to me. And I thought that, you know what, those letters, they're dark. They're letters from a killer to a pen pal. These are not nice letters, even though they appear nice by the way he writes them. And then I says, well, we have to have light. We gotta have light. And then I went back to 2 weeks after Joan died, and I remember saying, look at this. She dies on Holy Thursday. She's found on Easter, and I know the way Joan is. I said, you know what? There's a message there and signs. So I took that together with the light that I was thinking about that morning and said, I'm going to write a book. I'm going to write a book. And started in January. It was January 7th of 2000. Was like 2022. Yeah. And at that time, I was living downstairs, like on the first floor of a bi-level house. And that was during the winter months because work was being done upstairs. And there was lots of smells. And those smells can make me very sick with my muscles because I have myasthenia gravis. And then I would just be resting like most of the day. So we stayed downstairs and I wrote the book. And then John would, read me the letters. And I first started just commenting, just like summarizing letters. And that's what I did. And then after I says, well, it would be good maybe to comment on letters. So I started commenting on the letters. And then after I said, oh, maybe it's good to parallel my life. So it was developmental. It was a development. As you could see in the letters, you could see, you could see some of how it developed, that I don't have it like as complete with the three areas of the summary, comment, and the whole, my life, until you get, it keeps on getting deeper into the book. And it made me get into what I needed to get into. So you had to go to a level that I'm not talking about the easiest subjects. And it was hard sometimes. It was very hard. Right, John? You were there. You were there. And John he'd be there.
Typing.
He would be taking notes.
Yeah.
I would be like dictating to him. And first we started the notes. Oh, you saw all the papers. It was just a grassroots in writing this book. It was very grassroots. Yeah. Yeah. And sometimes for me to write one letter, I remember the one on the Girl Scouts. I remember the one on, there was another one that was very hard to do. The one about the kids. The victims. Oh, the victims were very hard to do. And it must have taken me about 20 times to get it right. Mm-hmm. And, but that's what I understand writers do. I could see that happening. This was the first time for me. Yeah. Yeah.
Wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
I would like to ask.
You want to come closer?
I'm in the screen. I'm okay.
Good.
Is Michael there? Michael, we'd like to talk a little bit about your part and how you made the letters visible and editing and such, and then what that was like, and to work through all these. You gotta unmute yourself.
Oh yeah, well, we had to just work on them to make sure the handwriting was good enough to read, and it took a while, but just happy to be involved. I'm happy with how it came out. So
Because there's a lot of like
glad
photo
that,
editing.
people are interested. Oh yeah, right.
Because they were different. The pencil, he wrote in pencil, and you had a lot of trying to get the ink dark enough.
Well, we had some of them that he wrote in pencil, which took some extra attention to take care of, but just take it a little bit at a time, and then everything turned out good. So,
How long did it take for you to do?
Well, there was.
oh, this was a while ago now, but I guess it took a few months between everything.
Yeah.
To get the letters the way they are today?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you also did a lot of the proofreading.
Do you know what we did today, John? Am I interfering?
Oh, you could talk. It's here.
Okay. Today, John and we spoke about ways of getting these letters out, and also to get the book out because it has the letters, right? So, John, you want to talk about what you
Oh,
did with
well,
the
I'm
FBI?
just trying, yeah. Several people have mentioned that about the field of criminal justice. So I I tried calling maybe the FBI as a department that would benefit. We also talked to Bernie prosecutor's office and trying to make them aware of this book and see if they could use these letters to learn more about the mind of a killer and prevent crime. Because I think that was a large part of the idea, get the letters out in the beginning, and still is. So I talked to someone at the FBI. I forget what department that was, but we'll reach out to different other law enforcement areas and see, because I think an expert could really get something from these things. I also wanted to talk to Faye, was also involved. I'm in this. Faye was also very involved. She came in a little later. We had done Michael Dillon proofreading, but it got really big, the project, and thankfully we turned to her to. She had experience from her career. And if you want to talk a little bit, Faye, what you did, what it was like for you to go through this book.
Well, on a personal level, it was amazing to read. Although I've known you for more than 10 years and I know the story of what happened, I didn't grow up in this area. I didn't really know the details. So just to learn what happened and to learn what your family went through, it was it was amazing, the story and how strong you all are. For the editing that I did, it was, just basic copy editing. I mean, the text was already written, and Rosemarie's voice is so strong. It didn't need to be. I just cleaned up, the type and did some copy editing, grammatical corrections and things like that. But I didn't want to change Rosemarie's voice at all, and Rosemarie's voice is really strong in the parts that she wrote. And I think, to me, I thought it was such a great idea to present the letters in the context of what was happening in Rosemary's and your whole family's life. It's just so much powerful to see what was happening while while these letters were being written, what was happening sort of in parallel. So that was a great way of presenting them. I also was really glad to hear just now that you wanted to try to reach out to people in criminal justice, because one of the jobs that I had in my career is I edited and managed the production and the content of criminal justice textbooks for Pearson Education, a large publisher. And while I was reading it, I really felt like it would have a market or a interest among people studying that field. So I was really glad to hear that that's what you are planning to do.
Maybe you could talk to Faye about that.
Yeah, love any input.
Faye, you might, direct us, like to what department. Because, we just went to a general department.
Yeah, we're not sure. We're just starting from zero here. We're trying to get some leads to who we should talk to get this book to the people who could benefit from it.
Sure.
Okay.
Thanks, Faye.
And Faye was, really
Invaluable.
a blessing because
So many typos.
there were so many typos. So many typos.
Yeah, thank God.
John, can I say something?
Who was talking?
Carolyn,
Carolyn.
Oh, hi, Carolyn.
have you reached out
Can you
to,
tell that voice?
Yeah, sure.
you don't recognize my voice? Have you reached out to John Douglas since he wrote the first 9 chapters in The Killer Across the Table?
No, I was just going to share what Mark Goldshaker, the co-author, told us. We're just at the beginning stages of that. We want to reply to this email in the right way and not be too pushy, but we're hoping he could help us in some way. Because they're busy people and they already helped with the whole parole situation. I want to be like, Write us
But,
a
you know, I
review,
don't-
share us
I
on
don't-
social media, you know.
I don't think you would be pushy if you
Yeah.
if you went on the premise that since he wrote all that and since he interviewed the killer, maybe these letters would be helpful to him.
Yeah.
You
yeah.
know?
We did just send him a free book.
Oh, okay, good.
And he thanked us for it, but I don't think he read it yet. We had shared him some letters because he's mentioned in the letters, you know, there's parts where the killer thinks he's his friend, and I guess that's what he tries to do to get into the
Okay, all right.
mind. So he does have that interest, and we do want to. He would be great if he could share that, give us a review, or
Mhm.
share it with his audience.
Oh,
Right.
you know, by the way, John, you know what? I just want to say something about reviews. Remember, reviews are very important, okay? So if you haven't done a review when you finish the book, or even the process of reading the book, you don't have to read it all. You know, if you have a feel of the book already, if you put a review on Amazon, and even you use the same review and put it on Goodreads and Barnes and Noble,
Yes.
because one person suggested that at the last book discussion that you can do that, and she's involved with podcasts. That was Lane. No,
Lauren,
Lauren.
our friend Lauren is helping us. She also has a We're into these podcasts now. So I was going to share, the
Reviews. Yeah.
like we said, and this is sort of a review. The co-author of the John Douglas book sent us an email. I'll paraphrase it a little bit because we haven't responded.
His name is Mark Olshaker. He's an author. That's his job, and he does books on different, not just on crime.
Not just with John Douglas.
He does books on, like, say, in science, in medicine, and the New York Times bestseller list is, he's known it. So this is who John
He
is
said
talking about.
he never came across anything like this book. It gives readers an insight into the mind of a vicious killer through his prison letters. But there's also sensitive commentary, and Rosemarie's comments and parallels give context. The book will have a lasting significance, even in the field of criminal justice. So again, he brought up criminal justice, and this is like we said, a New York Times best-selling author.
Like he said that a book like this he's never seen before.
Right.
Okay. And I mean, what book have you known or seen with all these letters? All these letters like this. So, there's so many signs in this story. And she's there. She's making sure that these signs are out there. So this way, like her life and suffering are, and she's not afraid like a spirit to make, she wants, things to be better for everybody. And she wants to help with her spirit. And then, I'm her mommy and I'm her voice. And, it's like, sometimes it's together, right? Together. But, so many signs, so many signs, so many signs. Nothing was planned, grassroots. So, just remember, I hope that in your life that you could see and not even look for them. You just know they're there, or you see them in somebody else's life, and you know they're there, and it gives you so much joy and so much relief, something positive. I hope that you can feel that way, because I'll tell you, every day is an adventure when you think that way, right? Yeah. Carolyn is into signs. Yeah. Right, Carolyn? Yeah. But we're talking about this, and everyone, this is going to get bigger and bigger because, and John, I'm interrupting.
No, it's
You know,
what it's for.
but
We're
you know,
just, I'm
it's
just
part of
launching
it's
the point.
part of like
Yeah.
this. It's going to get bigger and bigger. Now we start the podcast phase, but then there's this whole film. Now the film, Vanessa, you know, she put herself in for the festival in April, and that's the Ridgewood one, and that's April 25th. So her film, the film like Daughter of Mine, that it's about Joan, right, and about me. It's going to be in short film, the short film part. So anyway, with this, now she'll find out in March if it's accepted to be, you know, in the festival, and then we'll let you know. I mean, and then we just found out that it was going to always, they always had a movie house, and they just there's no more movie house. It just went down.
It just closed.
It just
Yeah.
closed.
Last week.
So now they're looking for another venue for it, and tonight they're having a meeting for it. But there's so much, and I'm always seeing these different signs, and I just hope that you see signs, you know, in your life, and you see life that way, you know. So this way, you don't feel alone. You're always seeing like what there is around in life, you know, that's good. You know, that's good, because there is the other that's so easy to see, you know. So, you know, I just hope so, because I want you to have like similar feelings like I have. Okay. Maybe you have even better feelings. Good, good. Yeah.
Yeah. Great. Maddie said she definitely sees signs, especially from her mother, and she's seen them from Joan too.
Really?
Maddie said that.
Yeah.
Maddie had also asked about the documentary. She was she was wondering how you felt about it, and we also addressed when and where it will be. The first will be film festivals, and I guess she's hoping it will pick up. The film festivals are a step to wider release, hopefully.
Because you see, Maddie is a professor at the University of Massachusetts. Is it called Western University, Maddie? You want to ask her?
Yeah, it's called Westfield State University.
Okay, Westfield State
Yeah,
University.
it's in Massachusetts. Yeah.
In Westfield?
Yes, in Westfield, Massachusetts, and I teach a documentary film class, and so I'm really looking forward to seeing the documentary, especially because it sounds like you thought it was well done and was true to your experience.
She focuses a lot on Joan, and she focuses a lot of my work.
Good.
There's only so much, it's like 36 minutes.
Yeah.
But what she focuses on, I mean, I remember the first one they had, and that was in the Hamptons, and the people were going, ooh, ah, oh, they were all reacting,
Mm-hmm.
you know, because there were parts
and the clapping
that was shocking. And then at the end, they just kept on kept on just clapping. But it was I don't think they saw anything like that. It was like hard for them. It was hard, but yet it was like it got their concentration like 200%.
Yeah.
It was something to see. I was watching them because I was in the back.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
You know. Did you have any other questions about the documentary, Addie?
No, that really answers it. I'm so happy that it was a good experience for you to see it, and I'm so happy that she focused on Joan and on your work and your accomplishments. And I love that people gave the film such an ovation. That's wonderful.
Because you know what that is, right? Not every film is going to get that. And when she portrays me, she starts like from the beginning of the movement. And I was very sick and on lots of medicines. So you see me very, very like big like a balloon. And it's big screen too, you know? But that was the truth. And then she goes down, and then you start to see me speaking, and
Yeah,
then I change,
the different phases.
and you
of
see it going. So it's very interesting.
Yeah,
And you see, you see that, I had to go through a lot, to do it. And I was glad that it didn't bother me to see myself that way, but I was concerned about it, before going there. I was getting worried. I go,
big screen.
I said, I gotta see myself like that. Oh, and
Mm.
then what I did was, I just like, I helped myself by saying, I had to, because I would say, okay, oh, look at that picture. Okay, you're that way, but then, oh, look at the way you got there. And then look what you're doing. You're going for the law, for Pete's sakes. So all that, I kind of try to condition my mind a little bit. Yeah.
Unbelievable.
You're very beautiful, Rosemary. I wouldn't worry about seeing yourself on the big screen. You're very beautiful.
John.
When I was on the screen, I don't like it.
Oh, John.
They had me talking. But
John was really on. Oh my God. I looked at him
and I said, "Oh, they're showing me."
because I didn't know what
Yeah,
the interview was with John and Michael,
yeah,
right?
you weren't
It
there.
was like, it was private. And I never even, I could never understand what they were saying, even you spoke about it. And then you see them there, and you see John with what he was saying, and then you see Michael, what he was saying, and both parts show different parts.
Right.
Michael goes more into the laws.
Right.
John goes more into the family part, and so forth. So it's very, very, she did it good. You're going to love it.
Yeah, I can't wait to see it.
Yeah, but have your water. Have your
Yeah.
water.
Yeah.
Make sure you're warm enough.
Right. So I wanted to share a couple excerpts from the book here. Here is an example of a comment. So we'll show a comment. So basically, there's parts in the book in the beginning has a lot to do with prison conditions and a lot about his sentence and his appeals, because he appealed from the beginning to try to change his plea, always trying to get a easier sentence. So we're trying to get to an easier prison. And I mean, you'll see. So, like number 198, which was written on September 28th, 1979, my mother's comment. So in this email, in this letter, he mentions another appeal he's trying. From previous letters, I thought he was done with his legal actions. This is a darkness which is so far away from Joan's light. What gives me the uplifting spirit to fight this injustice is knowing that I'm helping make Joan's light bright by being her voice. So you're trying to say that.
That was one of the comments.
Right. So you're seeing, so throughout the book, you see his sort of dark actions of trying to get out, not taking responsibility, not talking about the crime. But then you're seeing the comments help you to have some sort of support that my mother's feeling like you're feeling a little bit, and then she'll mention like at least she knew that she did this advocate work, right, and that there was a positive that has come out of this, and it's not just about what we.
Do you have a sentence of his in there? Do you have any of his
No, I
works?
didn't do that.
You don't have any of his works.
I do have in the next one, number 212. This one is a little snippet. I want to share it to you, so you can see the a little part from his little snippet here from his how he wrote it. I'll read it to you. This was from number 212 from July 13th, 1980. I agree with you with your wish for a fresh start. I know that I'll never have that unless I break the law when I get out and run on parole. I don't plan on doing anything like that, but I have to keep that in mind, just in case. All right. So you see that it's not. He's assuming he's going to get out, and that's a theme throughout the first letters. You know, he says, when I get out, I'm going to celebrate all the holidays. When I get out, I'm going to go across the country. So, and there's another part where he thinks it's laughable that he has to wait 14 years before his first parole. So, I think, and this is a comment, he said, I think he fantasizes about a way he could be free in order to deal with his situation. It seems like that he has a lot of experience in fantasizing, and that's a major way he copes. He uses the easier way rather than dealing with reality. You know what you're trying to say there? What did you make me say about that?
Well, he really has a way of sounding so kind.
That's another theme, yeah.
Yeah. And
Towards Sue, which was a pen pal.
there's so many parts. When you're saying this, I'm thinking of this mind that has this way of talking to Sue in a way with such a kindness and has all this common sense and speaks like we would speak to a friend that we're trying to help. Yeah, yeah. But he's able to really, 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 like 200%, like just words for it, like minimize it, what he did to John, block it out, like really, really, of course, not deal with anything. So therefore, in his mind, he's innocent. Why is he there? Why is he there? And it's like you'll see as you read the book, you know, he thinks that, you know, this is something. Oh, I had a rage. You know, it's one of those things at the moment, and I'm just like overwrought, and it's just a one-time thing. So I'm fine. There's nothing wrong with me. I'm fine.
That's the attitude.
Yeah.
That's exactly right.
And then his mother says, "Oh," she'll tell the reporters after, you know, he was sentenced. He is the best boy in the world.
Best son in the world.
Best son in the world.
Yeah.
Okay. So therefore, he was getting support from
his mother and Sue.
Sometimes priest would go there. He was getting like, you know, things from his relatives, like the little care packages. And then you'll see in the podcast, right?
I'll play that next.
I don't put that in the book, but you know, there's a lot that she was getting these things from public, what was it? The public records, right? And it was amazing.
The parole board manuscripts are in that podcast.
And the things that you hear, and you're gonna say that now?
No, not that exact part.
Which part?
It's more about how you were starting the movement in '93.
So, you know, like, it was like, it's so pathetic, so disgusting. There are no words for it. That there's a human being that thinks like this and is just trying to, in his head, keep on, he's like this person that has the right to be free, and he's done everything he can, but meanwhile he has to be careful in prison because there might be groups that will go after him because of the crime he did. So then he knows what to do. He knows what to ask for. I don't want to be here. I have the right to be moved because I could be attacked. So therefore, they put him in a better place. And he tries everything. And he's educated in a way that, I know he had 129 IQ. So, he uses it to benefit himself. But because of the judges that were on the case, they went and took risks with the decisions they made to make sure that he wasn't, he was going to get the most punishment he could. And you will see some of that in the podcast, and you see some of that in the book.
Yeah. You were talking.
What part?
Oh, no.
Say that.
I was going to ask another question, but you were still talking.
Okay, yeah. What?
Oh, you were talking about the support he was getting, but I was going to bring up how about the lack of support you were getting at the beginning, but also how certain organizations dealt with the school, as far as not dealing, and also the Girl Scouts, especially at the beginning, not dealing with it.
Well, the Girl Scouts didn't really deal with it.
Yeah.
They're still not dealing with it.
Until you brought it to them a lot of it.
I mean, I had to do all the work to get anything there, But I remember with the Girl Scouts that this one person that was in the administration at the time that Joan was killed wrote to me, about 25 years later, and she said, "I'm so sorry." She said, "I was one of the people that was there protecting like our money." That's what it came down to. And just dismissing Joan. We don't think of Joan. Yeah. And meanwhile, Joan lost her life, in the realm of service. And you see now, I mean, if someone loses their life, right, in doing something like, say, in any realm of service, they're honored, right? Joan, don't talk about Joan. We turn on its head. She doesn't really exist in a way. I'm being very kind of but I want to emphasize that it was important for them to not get involved with what happened to Joan, because that would affect their business.
The brand name.
Yeah, and they have
They're
this
very
huge
big company.
building. It's like many stories on Fifth Avenue. And anything we got for Joan, I had to work for, and I had to start anything. But in the process, there was this one person. She was one of the vice presidents, and I met with her. And I met with the person that was in charge of the North, our area, and Bergen County, northern New Jersey. And I brought out to them that there should be nothing, not even for a 14-year-old, 11-year-old, that they should be going door to door.
Never door to door.
Yeah, because they didn't stipulate for all ages to make it very, very clear, no door to door. And so I did bring that out because I found out in research and people, telling me things that 14 years old, that's the year, that's the time, according to the Department of Justice, that those are the children that are most vulnerable to be, assaulted sexually. So, so but the Girl Scouts, like the leaders, the children, that was, the leaders are, giving children, like say here in Hillsdale, in Park Ridge, they're the mothers with the children, and having a group. They're wonderful. What they do.
Mm-hmm.
You see, yeah. So it wasn't clear at that time that they were, I know they knew something if it was like in the small print, like the leaders, but it wasn't something black and white. No, you have to go with a buddy. You don't really do this. You don't do that. That wasn't there. So of course that became more clear after Joan died. And to this day, I mean, I don't hear from them, like from the administration. I don't, nothing. There's not an anniversary that comes. They might just they could send a card, they could send flowers. It's like, mm-mm-mm. And they didn't even want the word Girl Scouts on the sculpture at the garden. Yeah.
Yeah.
Girl Scout cookies, because that's their thing. So that's, and I do talk about the Girl Scouts, in the book. And now with the children, that was the one that you were saying.
Oh yeah. Well, then we're talking about the school, the sign, this sort of like warning signs that children saw, and then after we talked about it last week, or the last chat, and then that how it was not talked about. There was no support for the students who went through it. No one, the teachers never mentioned it. The teachers, some of them apparently visited him, and he said that's in one of his letters, and they never. I mean, the school never reached out to you. But I think that's a big part too there in the book.
Well,
I would like.
that's a specific letter.
Yeah.
And we did, on with emails, I got like connected with a lot of the students through a student that were involved with their like their alumni, and she kind of would like get in touch with them for us. And what happened there, I mean, it almost was like if they had taken care of things, signs that were coming up. And you still see it today with the bullying, what happens. You saw about the girl, 14 years old, and this was near Todd's River. And the school was not listening to the signs that were there. And there was a lot of bullying going on, and it kept quiet, and still the signs weren't being addressed. And a 14-year-old, beautiful little 14-year-old, took her life because the day before that she was bullied. And they have a video of it too. And then other parents were saying, oh, my child was bullied before that. My child was bullied. And all this was not out there to really say, okay, let's take care of this right now. And that girl's life could have been saved. So the same thing happened with Joan. There were signs, and they couldn't prove it. The parents brought it up, and he was stalking, and he
I'll have to read it.
and
Yeah.
well, in the book,
Yeah.
and he was making calls,
Yeah.
and things like that were happening. So what happened was the school did nothing, and that attitude continued. And I tell you the truth, I don't even remember getting anything from the school. Nothing. Like even a call, for condolences. But these kids, 14, 15, 16, 17, they go back to school right after Easter break. And they're, in so many words, like, we do not talk about the subject. And there was no assembly, nothing. And they couldn't talk about it. So to this day, a lot of those students have never talked about it. And they talked about it the first time when they were telling me, when we talked, like emailing it and telling me that way. And it really affected them. And they kept it quiet to themselves. And they didn't even talk to their parents about it. All this heaviness in these children. Yeah. And then, of course, the worst of the worst. I mean, Joan lost her life. But there were signs with him. They weren't proved, but they said they couldn't prove it. But you know what? They weren't listening to the parents. And the parents called me. And one parent says, I have a gun if he ever gets out.
Mm.
She's deceased now. And so scared, so scared.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. And then I could have been bitter.
Yeah.
I could have been so bitter.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because of all this happening. But then, I knew that I didn't want him to control me anymore. He wasn't going to control me anymore. That was one of the ways I got strength. And then Joan went through so much more, and she didn't have a chance to have a life, the regular life, and or a chance, and nobody. The suffering she went through is, astronomical. So,
Yeah.
I was thinking of what Joan went through.
So, yeah. So we're gonna go about until 8:30. I just have a clip to play from the podcast. It goes not most people might know this, but some people assume that my mother's advocacy was for the whole 50 years, but it really started at the point of change. It was in '93 with the surprise no parole. This is a surprise parole eligibility. So here's a little clip on that. Then we could open it up a little bit if anyone wants to unmute themselves and talk about it, and or I have another question possibly. This is on YouTube. There's no commercials. If you watch your podcast on the YouTube, this is part one on the for about 41 minutes. It's an hour show. I think part two will be next Tuesday, and my mother will be interviewed for that one.
Do they know how to get onto it now?
Well, the link is on. Oh yeah, she said the link is on jonesjoy.org for the podcast, or you could Google "Suffer the Little Children," or that's the name of it.
But jonesjoy.org.
Yeah, it has the link to the podcast.
In prison and trying to make sure he wouldn't be up for parole every few years. I thought starting a movement of the people would help us all.
Rosemarie made it her mission to keep her daughter's killer behind bars and to create laws that would prevent other families from going through what hers had.
Wait, it was in the
His
wrong
pen pal, Sue, not to visit because he was afraid to go into the visiting yard, saying,
My crime does not make me a popular person with certain members of the prison population.
"Aw." He successfully petitioned to move to the state prison in Leesburg, which is where he wanted to be all along because he considered it New Jersey's most comfortable prison facility. For some of his time in prison, McGowan, who earned a master's degree before his horrendous crime, sometimes taught classes to other inmates for a small amount of pay. As scheduled, McGowan first became eligible for parole in 1987, at which time it was denied for a 12-year period. However, it wouldn't be that long before his next parole date came up. When Rosemarie received a phone call from the Bergen County Prosecutor's Office in 1993 letting her know that McGowan was up for parole again already, she was shocked because she didn't know the 12-year eligibility period could be cut in half for good behavior and work credits. Joan had been gone for 20 years by that time, and Rosemarie felt it was time to remind the public about her special little girl. She said,
It wasn't about dwelling on the grief, but being a squeaky wheel to fight to keep her killer in prison and trying to make sure he wouldn't be up for parole every few years. I thought starting a movement of the people would help us all.
Rosemarie made it her mission to keep her daughter's killer behind bars and to
It's about that was the part I wanted to share right there to give you an idea of it. Again, the full episode is on the Jones Joy website.
And it's in the book. I mean, you know, lots of that was in the book too.
Oh, lots of, yeah. I mean, there's a letter. I mean, the whole appeals process. Linda was talking about. She's going through appeals in her life, and so that lasted years and years from '93. I mean, here's a letter, including he got a new parole hearing in '98, and then he got a 30-year hit. Well, his one of his hits was thrown out, and they had to redo it, and that's when my mother spoke at the rally and said we have to let the judges know that we cannot let these killers out. And she did work with the parole board, and he got a 30-year hit. And then in his letter number 249 on December 5th, 1998, when he got the news of that 30-year hit, he said, "I called my lawyer McLean right away. While he was shocked by the length of the hit, he agreed with me that it could be used to our advantage. The size of it pointedly demonstrates the absurdity of the parole board. Each time they see me, the length of my denial grows, and yet I still have a perfect record and am considered a model inmate." So I think that's, and then there's of course comments, and meanwhile, that's a little peak of his attitude through this process. And meanwhile, we were going through appeals from '93 through 2001 or so. I don't, and then he comes eligible again 2008.
Yeah, the questions.
There's some comments here. If anyone wants to come in now at this time, Letty just said her phone is going to run out soon, but she's at work. Thanks for coming.
Letty.
Please know she was blessed to attend, and thank you for being such a strong and courageous inspiration, she said to you. You want to say anything, Lenny, before your phone dies?
Letty.
She's unmuted.
Yes, Rosemarie, I have
Hi.
to see you in person. I do. Can you tell me what time the book signing is on April 3rd?
Okay, that's going to be from 5 to 7
Oh, at night.
in Hillsdale. In Hillsdale, yeah. It's
Thank
called
you.
Bergen Book Studio.
Bergen Book Studio.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, you guys and you and your son, I'm always blessed. Like I'm following things online. I want you to know. So even though I don't always get to participate in some of these, I want you to know that I'm just so blessed. And you said a lot of things that really touched me, but I'll send you an email.
Okay, Letty. Yes.
Okay.
Letty, you know what? I love the dancing steps you gave me.
She's doing it with you.
Oh, you saw it?
I do it for exercise.
You
Yeah.
do?
Yeah,
Oh my
I
gosh.
do. I do.
She's
It's
With you
funny. It's fun.
You together.
Yes. Yes.
You mentioned Broadway. Joan might want, you might have seen
Oh.
on Broadway, and my dance studio is called Steps on Broadway. It's so interesting.
Really? Yeah.
Yeah. So thank you for sharing those pieces of her. I feel like I know her even more now.
Letty, it's so awesome to see you. You look really great.
You too, always. You don't age.
You look great.
All right. I'm gonna mute myself so you can go on, but I still have time. I'm gonna wait till it dies. So I'm still here.
Okay, good. Yeah.
Thanks.
Jackie, you have any questions? Where's Jackie?
She's over there. Jackie muted. I don't know if she's talking. Let me see if I have any comments on Facebook. Wendy Wendell Tadlock says, "You're an amazing mother, and you've kept her memory alive. She was here and gone before I made my appearance, but her story truly touched me." Lauren Smith had to get off Zoom,
Oh,
but she's listening on Facebook.
oh, really? She is?
Hopefully.
Lauren,
Lauren, give us.
you're my angel.
Dwayne
Yeah.
Starkey says hello.
Hi, Dwayne.
Renatha Sacco says you are warriors. Congratulations on fighting for your princess.
Thank you. Thank you for your support. Support is always good in this journey.
She asks if we have Brazilian friends who support the story. There are several.
Michael has a friend that his
Yeah.
wife is Brazilian.
Oh, there are some teenagers, I think they're from Brazil. They post a lot of pictures of Joan on Instagram. And they make them look very different.
She's from Brazil.
I'm getting confused. Somewhere in the Spanish speak.
Oh.
We sent one of them a letter. It took a month to get there with a little butterfly and things. These teenagers, there was also Taylor from England, and she does a lot of those videos. Remember, we used to do memorial videos. It was very surprising. They asked me for.
It's good because, they're doing like good things, to bring, to bring the life, of the child out. And they do it for other children too.
Yeah. And does anybody else want
Any other question?
Unmute? I'm gonna go back and look.
Yeah.
Linda was talking about.
Linda. Yeah.
Linda said,
Where is it?
going through this myself. It's 10 years, and he is going back to court to appeal. So
Linda, do you want to talk?
I don't know if she's muted. I don't know. The thing is,
Linda.
Oh, there she is.
Hi.
Linda, why don't you
Hi,
tell the
Rosemarie.
people?
Hello.
Yeah. So why don't you tell them a
Yeah.
little
What?
bit? Why don't you share it
Or
if it's going to help you?
you can share part of
Well,
like what
with
the injustice of the system.
with the appeals.
well, I didn't know he could. And next thing I know, it's 3 days before Christmas. My daughter's coming here to go to court in D.C. because he's trying to get out. And actually, the investigator the homicide man that investigated, he actually met my daughter in court and was with her when the hearing went on. And not only that, we got to do it again, I think, in second week of February.
Mm-hmm.
It's
What
just
state
horrible.
do you live in? What state do you live in, Linda?
He was killed in Washington, D.C.
Oh.
That's what they understand about the appeals process, right? The constant wait.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Did you
I've
ever
never
go to
thought
John
he died on
Douglas? Did you ever talk to John Douglas?
No, I don't know who that is.
He's a criminal profiler, and he's really, really like very astute, like with the minds of these people. And he used to be an FBI person. He started
Is he in
the FBI
D.C.?
criminal profiling.
Is
And
he
there's
in
that book.
Washington?
It is John Douglas.
Is he in Washington, D.C.?
Well,
I don't know where
he used to work there a lot because he worked for the FBI.
Okay.
He was like one of the higher ups. He started new research, and the book, The Killer Across the Table, is one of his books, and another book, The Mind Hunter.
Okay, I've heard the name. Yeah.
Okay,
just
and
very
that's him.
scattered.
So see, and you could say that you were on, like I don't know if you have the book, but doesn't matter, or you say something, to share about like how everything's connected.
Yes.
I mean, he might get back to you.
Yes.
Meanwhile,
I will.
It's just it's a like I remember myself. It's a constructive way that you feel like you're doing something, for him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Linda,
definitely.
No, I love you very much, Rosemary. You're a very strong lady.
Oh, Linda, yeah, thank you.
Elegant,
Yeah,
prideful.
Linda, what makes me strong too, is the spiritual part.
Yeah,
That also,
I have that.
Good.
good.
You talk about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But where do
Thank
you,
you.
where do you live, honey? What, you live in what?
Near Richmond, Virginia.
Oh, okay.
Virginia too.
Yeah.
Right.
Because if you ever up here,
Yeah.
up here we can get together.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, hon? Okay.
Thank
So,
you.
All right,
thanks.
honey. All right. Love you, Linda.
Love you too. Love you, John.
Thanks. I wanted to give just we still have some time left if people want to jump on. I'll just give a um, little summary here of some of the upcoming things. So we have the Jones Joy, we have a .org website, of course, to order the book or read the reviews or look at the
Podcast.
then podcast. You can hear two parts. Well, the first part is on there now, and next week they'll have the second.
And you could hear the podcast on jonesjoy.org.
Yeah, that's what it's called. And then Mardi Gras fundraiser is coming up on February 13th. Now that's like a virtual product party. Carrie was here. She was having trouble with her Zoom. She's the coordinator, and you'll be able to order from Pampered Chef or Tastefully Simple.
Can I say it all?
But the thing is, and they'll ship it to you. You can order from any part of the country, and we get a percentage. And we'll have some trivia too. We have fun. It's a
and you know what? There's this lady, because it's just before Easter too, right? She makes her own chocolate.
She ships the chocolate.
And she ships it. But if you live close, she lives in Garfield, New Jersey, you could pick it up, and then you could save the $9 or so for shipping. And it's really good.
It's good chocolate.
And very good prices.
Yeah.
And then we're having, we're gonna have like a lot of different ones.
Yes.
We're gonna have we're gonna have one with gifts. We're gonna have one with the candles. We're gonna have one. She does things, creates things for Etsy. We're having somebody that knits. We're having another person that he's like a clown, and he's going to show something about what he does and give a percentage, and it's going to be fun. There's going to be a lot of different things. Yeah. Oh, and there'll be Mary Kay.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Tastefully Simple.
Tastefully Simple. Yeah.
Yeah.
But that chocolate, ooh, it's very good. Very good presents.
So we talked, yeah. And we talked about, I remember Michael got the big bunny last year.
Jerry bought one for
big.
Michael, big bunny
All solid.
for his birthday.
Yeah.
Because his birthday is near
like
Easter.
The pretzels.
Yeah, you like the pretzels?
Yeah. And then April 3rd is the book signing. We were just talking about that.
Yeah.
And then I put the links there in the chat room to follow our social media. We do mostly Facebook, Instagram, but that's a way to stay in touch. And if you have any other questions, you can always email.
Could I just say
Rose
something?
BD.
Oh, do you have it, Rose?
No, I know.
Okay.
But they should.
All right. My email.
They get our email.
Oh, the email is rosebd@email.com.
And what did you want to say there?
Let me see if I forgot. Maybe you know what? Let's see. Okay. So we'll know when we know about the documentary. We'll let you know.
Yeah.
That will be the third week, like towards the end of March. I have a feeling they're going to say yes, and it's going to be great because it'll be good for the community and all my friends and friends and supporters. And then it will go other places. So it might go to Virginia. She has she tried a lot of places, so she has to wait to get answers. Then what else? Okay, I told you for the fundraiser. We have the very big fundraiser at the end of September, and that's when we have the tricky trays, and that's when we have entertainment, And so if anybody has any creative ideas, even, you know, whatever, even Letty, you might be able to do dancing. We could do it on
I
Zoom.
think she left because
Oh,
of
she
her
left?
phone.
Oh, all right. You know, and then if you have like baskets, I need baskets.
Well, that's always for the Safety
Yeah,
Fest
yeah.
in September.
Yeah, but
Remember Maddie's baskets?
we'll start now, you know?
No,
yeah.
we do. It can never start too early.
You know what? Try to listen to the podcast.
Yeah,
Okay.
there's parts of it very hard, because it goes into the work by Zugaby, the medical examiner.
But it's okay. It's hard. It has to be hard.
Yeah.
And then, but you could do a quarter and then do another quarter.
Yeah.
You know, you break it up. And I did it like 30 minutes and then 30 minutes. And then there's another podcast person that's also going to do something.
Well, we always had the support too of the Carolyn's community, and a lot of them have come here. We've been on that show about the grief and everything.
Carolyn. Yeah. Carolyn is Mommy's Ramblings.
Yeah, Mommy Ramblings.
And that one, that's how. Was Evie here? Evie, are you here?
I thought she was.
Oh, she left?
No, she is Blinky. That's her.
Blinky, are you here?
Pinky, she's here. Evie?
Yeah. So
I'm here.
you always go there, right?
Hi.
They have a very nice community. It's been very supportive.
You go there a lot, right? With the Mommy Ramblings? Yeah. And where
Yes, she can't get rid of me.
Tell the folks a little bit about you, from where you're from.
I have a question. I have to read you it.
Carolyn or me?
No, you.
You have.
Okay. My name is Evelyn. I'm from California, and I lost my daughter. She was not murdered. She had a medical condition, and I lost her at 24 years old. And I found Carolyn, and we bonded because of the loss. Is one of the reasons why we bonded so closely. And we try to be there for each other. I wanted to ask you, you said you needed baskets. Do you need baskets that are full of stuff?
Baskets that are empty.
Okay.
Or baskets that are full would be
empty baskets.
But I'm not going to be too pretentious.
I have a lot of baskets.
Yeah.
I don't know what you want me to put in them, but I do have a lot of baskets.
You really do? But then the
the shipping is expensive for a basket. You can't fit too many in a box. But a couple is always good.
You do? Yeah? Okay.
Well, come take your baskets.
Well, you know what? Why don't you bring them over? Why don't you bring them over?
Yeah, take a trip to
California.
I have a...
And then Caroline.
When I visit Carolyn, then maybe we can come visit you.
Carolyn had a loss also.
Carolyn, you're muted.
Always muted?
Caroline.
Yeah, hi. Because we have a few podcasts with your mother, and we have a not a podcast. We have a video,
YouTube show.
Right, YouTube with your mother coming on with the book. We have that too, and plus we have a couple of interviews back in 2020. We started.
That's when we first met you, yeah.
Really? Yeah.
Yeah, 2020 we had two interviews with you, and then then you came on recently and showed the book and told about the book to the Rambler community there. And
we did the prayer.
We did that.
Then we did the grief separately, yeah, but you told about the book first. You came up for the book, yeah. So, yep, and I grew up not far from you, in Upper Saddle River, so it's funny how your paths meet, all these years later, and so, yeah.
Caroline.
Beautiful.
Caroline does, she started this, and she started Mommy's Ramblings, and it gets involved with true crime, but also like the aspects of the victims, with grief.
Oh yeah. Yesterday we had, it's so crazy that when you were saying that stuff about his mother, the killer's mother, I
Yeah.
just did a video last night because, you know, Sandra Rusak, and for those of you, you probably know the Chris Watts case, but there's a guy on YouTube, which is why I told you to be careful, John, because there are good people on YouTube, but there's a lot of, there's a dark side of YouTube. I'll just tell you that. Anyway, they will abuse, they think it's okay to like attack the families who have had a child murdered. And in Sandra's case, she had her daughter murdered, her pregnant daughter murdered, and her 2 grandchildren. And there is channel after channel after channel, a couple of them they finally got down, that terrorize them, that say that the parents were, they've even put me in there, that I've killed them, not Chris, with Sandra's son, that Sandra's killed them, I mean, you can't even believe this if I tell you this, but this is what happened. So his mother gave a new interview, and I said to
Oh, really? Oh.
yeah. I said to Sandy, I said, I heard this. I thought it was in a dream. I thought I dreamt it. And when I looked at my phone, no. She gave a new interview, and it was so horrific. I said, I have to do a video on this. And she said, Carolyn, because she always thinks that I get all the hate because I'm friends with her and because I defend her. And I said, I don't care. And I'll tell you, we had the most positive response to that video. And people said, thank you for standing up for the victims here, because what this mother said is she's like trying to get her son out of this murder. Her son himself is saying that leave the Rusak family alone. He doesn't even want to speak to his parents because of who she's colluding with on YouTube. So it's not a factor that like he was like your daughter's murderer, that he was saying he's innocent or whatever. The killer himself is saying, leave the Rusak family alone.
I wouldn't trust him.
Yeah,
no, I don't. We don't trust him, but we're trying.
But he's saying that to look good. He always wants to look good.
Oh yeah, he does. 100% he wants to look good. Yep.
Do you have the video? Do you think you could share it with me?
Yeah, I'll send it to John. I did it last night.
And then if whoever would like to see the video, let me know, and then I could send it to you.
Right. Yeah. I'll send it. We did it, and I think it went over really well, and a lot of positive, comments today. A lot.
So you really helped Sandra a lot.
Yeah, and I mean, she gets, like I said, a lot of my hate that I get thrown at me stems because I protect victims and I stand up for victims, and these people that glorify the murderers and write to, like, there's people that I never knew anything like this existed. I mean, they just, no matter what evidence is there, no matter what, they just want to like exonerate these murderers. Oh, they didn't do it. I don't think they did it. I think the police department was corrupt. I think the DA was corrupt. I think everybody's corrupt but the murderer. It's a sick thing.
Look at it in the book, in Joan's book, right?
Yeah.
Message like,
yeah.
Mother says,
so yeah, and his mother too.
I hate it. Like, she hated me because if I didn't send Joan over, her son would not have done what he did.
Exactly, just like how Chris's mother.
Imagine.
I'm
a mother. I'm a mother that really cares.
Oh yeah.
Exactly. If my son hadn't met Shanann, he wouldn't have killed her. This is what they think in their head, and it's like, I don't even know.
But honey, I tell you the truth, and then to be part of it, like say Sandra, well, but this is like my child, and she's saying this about me. So and then I remember, I'm just going to tell you something.
Go ahead.
I'm going to tell you something tough, okay? But I think I'm going to share it. You see, one time I was speaking to my mother-in-law, and my mother was there, and so was Frank. Now, Frank is Joan's father.
Right.
And I don't even know what we were talking about. And out of the blue, she says to me, no matter what I must have been talking about the mother, saying that.
Right.
And she said, no matter what I'm going to tell you, this is what I think. No matter what my son would do, I would always stand up for him.
Because people like
and
that.
she's telling me.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And but this is her granddaughter.
Yeah.
She's the godmother.
Oh, yeah, we've seen it. Yeah, I mean,
that's what she's saying.
Yeah.
And this was like maybe like, it wasn't even a year after Jonah died. So you see, everyone, there's a lot of parts, and there's a lot like things that happen, not in a vacuum. They don't just happen in a vacuum.
Yeah, Maddie said that was a very shocking comment.
Imagine that, Maddie. Yeah.
I do. Carolyn just shared the link to the show that we want.
Yeah, and one of the things like I have on my site too, these prison calls that his parents made to him, and his mother goes like this: I don't care what you did. Now, he also killed her grandchildren, but she doesn't even consider them like her grandchildren because she couldn't like stand his wife so much. And, it's just like, it's bizarre. She goes, it doesn't matter what you did, honey. And she's there and so crazy.
Carolyn, we're talking about evil.
Yeah. Oh, that's what, exactly.
And evil is in all forms.
Mm-hmm.
That we're talking about the worst of evil.
Yep.
Okay? And we're talking about darkness. Even when I told you, the example of what was going on. But therefore, what we do to get the power, right? What are we doing? We share it, but then we're going to go for the light and the light and the light.
Shine a light on it. Yeah.
And the light, and we're going to have power. And that's the way we're going to make change.
Yeah.
Okay? And that's what we're going to do. Yes. And that's what we're going to do together. All of us today. That's what we're going to do.
Yes.
Okay.
I just have, it is a little after 8:30. I had 2 questions from my Facebook. I don't know if there was time for.
Sure. If anybody wants, still stay, you're welcome.
Or we could talk a little more after that, but I don't know if these people were still on. So, Lauren Smith grew up in Hillsdale. Okay. She remembers the day so well. She also wants to make us a North Carolina basket. She lives in North Carolina, maybe for the safety fest.
Does it have the North Carolina accent?
Was there a time you ever wanted to move away from your street or Hillsdale after that horrific day?
I didn't have a choice to move. I did think, to move. But one of the parts was, at that time, we were trying to find out the mysterious disease I have, which deals with very abnormal fatigue. And, every day I have it. And weakness. And it affects your eyes. Like I told some of you, I haven't driven since in my 50s. But, so therefore, that was going to be hard to do because stress is not going to help it. And of course, there was super stress at that time. And then the other thing was with the children, they're young still. They weren't like 11, 12, where your mind isn't understanding certain things. Just remember when 8 or 9, you're a child. You want to play. You want to, something comes in your head. And, once you're getting support from your mommy and so forth, that their world is that way, even though they feel sad, but it's not processed like, say, a 12-year-old. So they were 8 or 9. And I thought, it would be better that they don't change the school, because Marie and Frankie were more the type that liked things like more the same. They were more that personality, and change would have been much harder for them. Another child might have been different. Like if it was Joan, it would have been different. It wouldn't have been as hard. So those are some of the reasons why we stayed. And then it was the best thing to stay, because I didn't know we were going to have to deal with this killer coming up so much. And here it was, we're in the community of all the people that were affected, and they know about the story, and they were going to be there to help. Yeah.
She's also going to post about the book on the Hillsdale page.
Who is?
Lauren, since she used to live in Hillsdale. That's a good idea if anybody wants to share.
Oh, great.
Social media
Great.
groups.
School groups,
yes.
parents groups.
Yeah, groups. We got to get into groups in our marketing. If anybody knows how to market too,
we're doing grassroots. Everything grassroots.
This book is a fundraiser too, so the money raised by selling it is going to the foundation. Was he ever?
Because we paid, you know how much for the book?
Well, you have to tell them all that.
It's a lot of them, thousands.
Yeah.
Why? I don't have to say.
I don't know, whatever you want to tell them.
So
Christine Clappish.
Why I can't say it?
Because it's Christine Clappish.
Okay, I'll listen to John, but I'll tell you another time.
Christine Clappish. She was our friend. She asked.
She was our friend. She's our friend.
I mean, I meant to say she was on last time, and she is our friend, and I combined it into an improper sentence. Thank you for fixing that for me. Was he ever diagnosed with schizophrenic or dual personality? Because I can't understand how religious he sounds in the letters. Oh, he's saying God bless and talking about the Bible and saints. Did he ever explain? Did he ever explain what happened or why?
The psychologist never said anything about that, Christy. You know. But
that religious thing, that is a theme that you do get turned up. You know, it's. I know you had a couple comments how you were shocked by the way he talks about saints and God bless, and you said the words God bless coming from his mouth. And
they were so fake.
No, but it's just like it really
said,
made you sick.
What God has to hear?
Made you feel sick. This person,
Christy, there was nothing. There was nothing about that, like some kind of personality disorder that way. But definitely, I mean, they didn't say anything about sociopathic behavior.
There was this association.
You know,
is what it was talked about a lot on the podcast, but maybe that was just the lady's opinion. But Wendy Wendell Tadlock says she loves your all's northern accents. So we have northern accents.
Oh,
y'all.
Yeah, we think we have no accent.
I know.
Yeah.
That's how people are humans. So I don't see anything else that we can get to now. Faye had to leave. She left a nice note. Other people have to go. So
Jackie, you have anything to say?
Jackie's walking around. Jackie, you're muted. And then we'll have a final word from Jackie if she can unmute. Then we'll say goodnight. I don't know. She's still muted. I don't know if she knows how to unmute.
Thanks for coming, Jackie.
Thanks for coming, Jackie.
Thanks for coming, every single one of you. And just know that we could keep on connecting and you could always get in touch, you know, and thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. From me and from Joan and from my family.
Thank you.
Joan's spirit.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Good night.
Nice to see you too.
Thank you.